Welcome, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Rick. Thanks for having me.
You bet, absolutely. Also, I should introduce you as author. I have the book right here, your latest tome, Sherlock and Mycroft.
Mycroft and Sherlock.
Mycroft and, oh my gosh, Mycroft and Sherlock. I transposed them incorrectly. Mycroft and Sherlock. This is, what number book is this of yours on the, or?
Geez, that's about 14 or 15, but that's the second one in the series. It's going to be 3. Mm-hmm. This is this book 2.
Okay, and we'll discuss that a little bit as well as your Kareem Abdul-Jabbar collection. There's an auction that's going to be going on, so there's lots to talk about with you. But the first thing I want to hit you is you just sat down, you saw my Michigan Wolverine helmet here on the desk. You asked me if I was a Michigan guy, and then proceeded to tell me that coming out of high school, you were also recruited by Michigan?
Yeah, I was recruited by Michigan. I went to see Coach Strack. Kazi, that was Kazi's senior year. They lost to the Bruins in the finals that year. So I visited both Michigan and UCLA, and it was no contest. Of course, I visited Michigan. It was March. It was freezing. I visited
But you're from
LA.
New York, though, Kareem.
I know, but
okay.
2 weeks later, I came out to LA for my trip out. This is no contest.
The weather was essentially what...
Oh, my goodness. The weather and the campus and the co-eds and everything, it's just too much.
It worked. It all worked is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Although, what did John Wooden say to you? Do you recall what he said to you about
I got out. We came out on a Friday, went over to Coach Wooden's office on Saturday morning, and we didn't even talk about basketball. We talked about academics. He said he thought I'd do well academically, and that's what he hoped for. And we went to lunch.
You went to lunch?
Yeah.
So what did Michigan do? Did they wine and dine you in any way, shape, or form?
But no, I went and spent the weekend there. Great school, beautiful campus and everything.
Sure.
And Coach Strack was wonderful. Kazi was incredible. But, I just figured...
Kazi show you around?
Yeah, Kazi showed me around.
Okay.
Kazi took me to the movies.
He took you... Do you remember which movie Kazi took you?
Can't remember, but it was the movie theater closest to campus because he had a lifetime pass.
That's the Michigan Theater.
Yeah,
You've
so...
been to the... Kazi Russell took, I guess, Lou Alcindor, or were you...
Yeah, I was...
You were Lou Alcindor
I was still
from New York?
Then, yeah.
Okay. And interesting, you have a new national live stage show coming out called Becoming Kareem. What is that about?
Well, it's a live show, and I basically I'm interviewed, and I talk about my life, the things that form me. The book that I just did, Becoming Kareem, is for younger readers, and I talk about the mentors I had and the people that helped me make some good choices that I made in my life. So I talk about that and, what that process was all about.
And how did you become Kareem, like the name Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? How did you...
Well, the whole idea about your name is it should inspire you to good things. So my name means noble or generous, and hopefully I'm inspired to be noble and generous in living my life. That's what it's all about.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, LeBron's going to make his Los Angeles debut on the road on Thursday, and then obviously here in Los Angeles on Saturday. How do you think he will fare here in L.A., Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
LeBron has already done very well here in L.A. because the people appreciate, what he's all about, in terms of his civic consciousness. And they know he's the best player on the planet. So, all the fans are so excited. I was mentioning earlier, I can't go anywhere without excited fans coming up to me and saying, how far are we going to go in the playoffs? And, the excitement and interest is there, and it all has to do with LeBron coming to town.
Now, I'm sure you've heard the question of legacy and him coming to a spot where there are already so many banners, yours, a dozen banners hanging inside of Staples right now. Does he need to win here, a championship, to be considered a Laker in that regard, Kareem? Do you think?
Well, I'm sure that's what he's hoping for, and that's what management is hoping for. And he still has the skill and leadership qualities to make that happen. So, they didn't get LeBron when, his clock is ticking real loud, and he's not going to be around for a long time. He has another couple of good years to give this franchise and hopefully to show them the leadership skills that they need to make it all the way to the top.
No, I know. It just the question being is you are obviously on the pantheon of Lakerdom, and many people think he has the opportunity to do that here, but he has to win a championship to do that. Would you agree with that assessment?
Well, maybe that would figure in the decision of whether or not this was a successful transition. But LeBron doesn't have anything to prove, you know. So in that sense, I don't think he can screw up because he has nothing to prove. He's bringing considerable skills and leadership qualities to this team. The Lakers will definitely benefit from that.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar here on the Rich Eisen Show studio. And again, we'll talk about your book and your collection in a second. I want to talk Colin Kaepernick with you a little bit here.
Sure.
Have you spoken with him?
Yes, I have spoken to Colin.
When was the last time you spoke to Colin Kaepernick?
A couple months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was, may I pry into finding out what your conversation with him was about?
I just asked him what he was doing, and it was before the Nike commercial came out.
Okay.
So he was kind of secretive, but he said, you know, that he had plans, and the fact that the ownership seemed to collude against him having a job in the NFL, that wasn't going to stop him from doing what he wanted to do with his life.
And do you feel that there are some who say that Colin Kaepernick will one day be viewed as one of the more important civil rights figures in sports or this country? Would you agree with that assessment, Kareem?
I would absolutely agree with it. What he did was important because he showed a new generation of youth that it's okay to have an opinion and it's okay to state it, as long as you do it with some intelligence and class. You have to say what's on your mind. So Colin used his platform as a professional athlete to bring attention to a very bad problem in our country. Too many black Americans get killed by the police for no good reason. And this is a real issue. This is not something that has been contrived. Colin is not trying to disrespect our country or our military. He wants our country to live up to what the Constitution says it's about, you know, equal protection under the law. And that hasn't happened. And tragically for black Americans, it ends up with too many black Americans dead.
Well, it seems that Jim Brown, who you have obviously a history being at the forefront of these issues with way back in the day, thinks that Colin and others should not be kneeling during the national anthem to make this point. Where do you stand on that subject?
Well, you know, I think that's a matter of opinion. Colin used the attention that he got to make a very serious statement. So it wasn't completely a failure. He got people's attention, and they understand what he was talking about, so much so that they tried to change the subject. So Colin knew what he was doing, and you know, I don't feel that he screwed up at all. He had to take the chance that they would come down on him like that, but as far as he's concerned, it was worth it.
Do you speak to Jim Brown at all?
I haven't spoken to Jim Brown in a couple of months, but I do speak to him.
Okay. Yeah. Did you speak to him after he was in the Oval Office with Kanye then? I guess you hadn't, so you haven't spoken to him in 2 months. So what did you think of that, Kareem?
It was kind of bizarre. You know, I'm sure that he probably wanted to get out of there when Kanye was doing his little act, you know.
And I'm just seeing a photograph here with you, Muhammad Ali, and Bill Russell. And
Shades of yesteryear.
Jim Brown. What was the circumstances around this photograph?
That was the Cleveland Summit. That was the attempt by Jim Brown and Bill Russell to get a number of athletes together to see if we could help Muhammad Ali deal with the issues he had with the federal government over refusing to go to Vietnam. So we wanted to talk to Ali and find out where his head was and to see if we could help him deal with it in a way where they didn't come down on him so hard. But, you know, within 10 or 15 minutes, we realized that he was totally comfortable with what he was doing, and he didn't care if they, you know, censured him the way they did. He had a point to make, and he made it.
What do you think Ali would have thought of what's going on with Kaepernick right now, Kareem?
I'm sure Ali would have understood what Kaepernick is doing and been 100% supportive of him.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, let's get to the October Legends Kareem Abdul-Jabbar collection featuring 146 lots of your memorabilia that is going to be available right now. Golden Auctions, Goldin auctions.com, now through October 27th. I have a couple of items right here.
A few trinkets.
This is, I'm holding in my hand game used from the 86-87 season, and you autographed the Lakers home jersey with shorts.
Yes.
Right here.
They have a number of those, a couple of those.
All right. Now here's another one I'm holding up right here, a game used Lakers jersey from 1986. So you would say you saved these, and these have just been sitting around in your garage in your
They've
house?
been sitting around, and my mom had a lot of stuff because, my mom lived in Queens, right?
Sure.
And when I'd win things from the NBA, they'd send it to my mom's house in Queens. I told them to do that. Mm-hmm. So my mom had a whole treasure trove in the basement there of rings and uniforms and various trophies.
So when
and stuff.
when you set a record or you had something, they said just send it to your mom's place in Queens?
Right. So, and then my mom moved out to Los Angeles in 85, she and my dad, and I inherited all the stuff, and it was a lot of stuff.
And so now you want to...
I want to use it in the right way. A significant proportion of the proceeds will go for my camp, where I send kids from the LA Unified School District so that they can learn about STEM subjects. Mm-hmm. It's been a really good program. We have like a 4 or 5 year waiting list, and we need money for buses and to pay the teachers and all the people that help us do this.
I mean, this is amazing. Brockman, you have no idea. I'll send it over to you in a second. Just seeing it up in person.
Looks incredible.
Yeah. And these are these championship rings that I'm holding.
Those are championship rings. My UCLA ring is about 3 NCAA championships, and then that other one you have there, I think that's 1982.
Why do you want to sell these? They don't have any sentimental value for you to just look at?
Well, they have lots of sentimental value.
Okay.
But I don't have 12 fingers, and
that is a great answer. I don't have 12 fingers. You have one a lot, sir.
Yes, I have.
That is great. Okay. Yeah, if they had 12 fingers, you'd be able to wear them all. This is amazing. So again, goldenauctions.com for that. And man.
For all the people, they want to have a piece of my history, they can come and bid. The auction stops October 27th.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. And then Mycroft and Sherlock is your latest tome.
Yes, it's I've written about the backstory of Mycroft Holmes. He's Sherlock's older and smarter brother. Mm-hmm. And I tried to talk about his backstory. In Arthur Conan Doyle's canon of work, he's only mentioned a couple of times, about 5 or 6 times. And
yes.
Have no idea of who he is or why he is who he is. Mm-hmm. So I decided to backtrack a couple of years and talk about Mycroft, and it's done very well.
When did you first get into Sherlock Holmes and Mycroft Holmes? Were you a kid? Or?
When I was a kid, I used to watch the series from England with Basil Rathbone.
Sure.
They used to show it on Saturdays, Sherlock Holmes Theater.
With the hat?
Yeah, with
sure.
the hat.
Right.
And then more recently, what happened was that my second year in high school, we read Arthur Conan Doyle, and that's the first time I realized that that Sherlock Holmes was not actually a real person. Up to that point, I thought he actually was a real person. A lot of people do. Mm-hmm. In fact, even today, Sherlock Holmes still gets mail from around the world sent to his address in London.
At Baker Street?
221 Baker Street. They have a museum there.
Sure. Wow. And so do you like the BBC series? The
BBC series is great because it really shows what Sherlock would be like in the 21st century. Mm-hmm. And I think that's great. And Elementary is pretty good too.
Yeah. That's another one. Absolutely. Another one. Before I let you go, I do have to ask you a couple of pop culture questions, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Okay. How'd you get involved with Airplane, the movie Airplane?
The Zucker brothers are from Wisconsin, mm-hmm. and they had wanted Pete Rose to play the role that I played, but they shot the movie during the summer, and Pete was playing. So since the Zucker brothers are from Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, they said maybe Kareem will do it, and got in touch with me. I said, yeah, I'll do it.
You do it.
Yeah.
Did you come up with the names of Walton and Lanier?
No.
That
Was the writers. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where is the jersey that you wore in that? Where
I
you
have no idea.
dragged up the aisle? Because I would bid on that. I would bid on that jersey for sure.
I have no idea. We should find that one. Huh?
I would look that one up.
Yeah.
And so, what was that like on the set?
It was so much fun, because it's kind of hard to believe I'm going to work every morning and I'm sitting next to Peter Graves. I used to watch Mission Impossible. And here I am sitting next to him every morning, good morning and stuff. It was crazy, but it was fun. I had a lot of fun doing it. Leslie Nielsen was out of his mind,
What do you mean he was out of his mind?
He's crazy, man. He had this little can that if he manipulated it, sounded like flatulence, right?
He said a whoopee cushion.
It's a whoopee cushion, right? So he'd come up to you and start talking to you and then start working the can, and the people would be like, what's going on? And if you didn't know, he'd take it. He'd mess with your head, Leslie was crazy, man.
Man, that's just an all-time great. I every time I see it, it still makes me laugh. And then, how did you meet Bruce Lee? How did you meet him?
I met Bruce Lee when I was starting my junior year at UCLA, and I had started studying martial arts kind of formally, and I wanted to continue doing that. So I asked a friend over at Black Belt Magazine, who I could study with, and he said, maybe you might want to study with Bruce. And
that's what a suggestion.
Yeah, he just referred me over to him. I called him. He said, yeah, come on over to the house. I went over to his house, and we talked about it, and he had a great way of convincing me because he wanted to know if I could punch and kick, right? So he got behind the heavy bag, and had me punch and kick it. He said, okay. So I thought he was going to show me how he punched and kicked, but instead, he had his wife come out.
His wife?
His wife, okay. Linda, who weighs maybe 120, 125 pounds. And he had me brace myself against the heavy bag, and she kicked it, and the force that she put through the bag knocked my body away from it. And I said, I want to know how to do that. And that was that. I started studying with him, and we were friends from that time until he passed away.
Until he passed away. What was the height difference between you and him and Bruce Lee, do you think?
Oh, 1.5 feet.
I mean, just we're looking at the footage of the film
like
that you did with
5'8",
him.
yeah.
And wearing the shades, was that your idea? Whose idea was
that
for
was,
you to wear the
it just
shades?
made me look villainous. I'm the bad guy. I have to die.
Uh-huh.
So that made me look mysterious and villainous.
Yes,
and,
as you're knocking him to the floor.
With my dirty feet. And
what do you think of when you see this stuff?
Well, it makes me remember Bruce. That's the last time I saw him was when we did this film. So it really, it's nostalgic in a way that, I get kind of misty because he was such a good guy.
He's a good friend of yours, right?
Yeah, he was a good guy, and just I used to babysit for his son, and we had a whole lot of history.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar here on the Rich Eisen Show. Are you going to the first game with LeBron, or?
But of course,
you will be there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
The Lakers know how to put on a show, don't they? I mean, they really know how to put.
Yeah,
on
I think they
show.
figured it out a long time ago.
They certainly did. What do you think Jerry Buss would think of LeBron coming here?
Oh, he'd be ecstatic. I mean, he lucked up getting Magic, and now having the good fortune to sign LeBron and have LeBron come and bring all of that he brings it's great. It's great for the city, and it's great for the Lakers.
Well, great, Kareem. Thanks for coming on here. You are welcome here anytime. I always enjoy our chats.
Thank you so much, Rich.
Keep writing books if that's what you want to keep doing, and come on this show to promote it. I'm all here for
Thank you
that.
so much.
You bet. Mycroft and Sherlock, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, his latest book right there. Golden Auctions, the October Legends Kareem Abdul-Jabbar collection. I have championship rings right here. I've got signed jerseys and shorts right over there. Go to goldenauctions.com right now through October 27th, and go to becomingkareem.com for tour dates and more info to see Kareem live. Good to see. Did I get it all down?
You got it all. Thank you so much.
You bet. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, KAJ33 on Twitter. That's what's going down here. Your phone calls at 844-204-RICH, number to dial here on this edition of The Rich Eisen Show when we come back.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.